Okay, I am Joe Barnhill presenting my 10-minute lesson plan for my UCM course. We're at the library in Lee Summit. Couldn't get a hold of the State Tech room, so I have my son here, Owen, who's going to act as the student. So, first off, to start off with the lesson, Owen, can you share a little bit about your understanding from our previous lesson about the government as an actor or a referee? What would be some examples in which the government is an actor or referee?
So when the government acts as an actor, they collect money through taxes, and then they use that money for things like defense and education. And when the government acts as a referee, they set the rules of how interactions can be between households and businesses.
Great, that's an excellent answer. Okay, so I'm going to kind of expand on this and get you thinking on this a little bit critically. I know you play some sports. Okay, so have you ever disagreed with a referee call, or there was a particular sport that you liked that a rule would want to be changed, you would see differently? So,
Yes.
what would be an example, something that happened to you or a sport? I know you like football a lot. Is there a rule that you would like to see that would be changed?
Yeah, in football, a lot of times roughing the passer, it can be pretty lenient towards the offense. So I think maybe evening that up could be something that could be fixed.
Okay, and what would be the benefit of that? Who would
Benefit was
benefit from it?
that the defense could play hard, and that the quarterback wouldn't be protected as much as other players.
Okay, good. Okay. So I have my little prop here. Your chief professor of economics has decided to go with the Walmart brand instead of the Pop-Tart brand to save money, $1.19 as opposed to $2.45. But let's say that I gave this to you, and assuming that we had other students in the classroom, and say you are the banker of Pop-Tarts, and you have control of the Pop-Tarts in the economy, and you make decisions about who's going to get the Pop-Tarts and who you're going to lend Pop-Tarts out to, but you're going to charge them a rate. So what is an interest rate that you would feel that would be fair, maybe to charge your friend Dylan to have these Pop-Tarts, or have a Pop-Tart if he was to borrow one from you? What would be a good interest rate?
Maybe charge him $1 for the Pop-Tart.
Okay, and then what on that dollar? So you're going to lend him the dollar, and based on that, how much interest would you charge him on that dollar? That opportunity cost?
25%.
That's pretty high. Okay, so 25%. Okay, and is this for a annual amount that he has 25% in a year, or is this just within a week? A week.
Annual.
Okay, so he will pay you back $1.25. Okay, that's a good example. Okay, well, I brought this in as an example. It's a good example of government regulations in markets. You think like in banking. There has to be certain specifications about taking out a loan. So I know that you might be interested in taking out a car loan someday. When you take out that car loan, they're going to assume the car is going to be collateral. There's certain conditions that they have recourse, non-recourse about taking that car back. What happens if you don't make payments? If they're not on time, if you don't make payments at all, they're probably going to take the car away from you. And that's where the government's going to have to jump in and make a decision about, hey, what are the rules of lending? So actually there were a lot of changes to lending with credit cards, especially they used to target young people at colleges when I was in college in the 80s. And they would, in that sense, just get you to sign up for all this free stuff with not thinking about how many credit cards and how much interest rate was on. So the federal government stepped in and said, hey, we're not going to allow that anymore. So, okay, so what I want to do is I kind of want to focus on that, provide a stable set of institution rules. And what I've done is I've created the graphic organizer. So you have all those the institutions and the rules. So, and we'll think through and reflect on these as a government, as an actor and a referee. But one of the things, that I want to kind of get you started on to think about this, the way for a graphic organizer is to help us recall what these roles are. There's 6 different roles. And if we look at all these different roles, like provide a stable set of institution rules, provide effective and workable competition, correct for externalities, ensure economic stability and growth, provide public goods, and adjust for undesirable market results. So we're going to focus first on just provide a stable set of institution rules. I've already given the one in the banking example, where we're giving the loan where you charge Dylan the 25 cents on your $1 Pop-Tart. Can you think of another potential institution and rule that might exist in the government, or that you've been exposed to in your past? Legal, through market transactions, anything that comes to your mind?
I would say just like the government when they're taxing on anything.
Okay, yeah. So what are some examples in which you've been taxed?
say on like if you work at a job, your paycheck gets taxed
Okay.
and sales tax.
Yep. So they take out the FICA. That's that 7.65% we talked about. I think it's 1.4 to the disability, and the difference is paid to your Social Security. So yeah, it's mandated by the government that the employer, and I think it's up to almost $180,000 now, they have to pay the 7.65%, and you pay the 7.65%. It's not a question if you want to or not. It's a rule. Okay, so I'm going to draw something. I think I think about like rules and justice. I'm going to create like if you've ever heard of the expression "kind of justice is blind." My stick figure. It's not going to be great, okay, but it's going to be kind of a something for me, okay, that's going to help me remember. And I think the person had a little scale here. They're weighing two items, okay, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy. And she has the sword here, okay. So that's kind of my drawing to help me remember, okay. But what I also want you to, you're going to do in just a second here. I'm going to put like just something, just an expression like interest rate allowed on a loan as an example, because there are some states that have what we call usury laws that only allow you to charge a maximum interest rate. That's what we call like a price ceiling. In fact, during the late 70s, early 80s, when inflation was really high, a lot of New York bankers were only borrowing to pay, let's say, almost had to borrow at 18%, and they could only lend at 12% because of the rules. So they all went to South Dakota and established a lot of their credit cards out there. Okay, so I want you to draw something. It'd be whatever's important to you that would establish a picture, an image that you can recall it. Because the purpose of this is hey, I'm trying to remember what this is for the test or the quiz. But if I can draw that image, I can remember the statement provide a stable set of institutional rules. So I'm going to let you draw something there, and it's got to be important to you. So you go ahead and draw that image, okay?
So I drew Roger Goodell.
Okay, and go ahead and write Roger Goodell down there. I like that one. Roger Goodell's with the NFL, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what might be a rule or something on that that reminds you of Roger Goodell, or something that he would implement to help you kind of recall that as as a referee, if you will?
I would say that he sets the fines and suspensions so that the players know what they can and cannot do and the punishments.
Okay, so write that down, just kind of a brief expression, not too much, but yeah, I like that example there. Okay, good. Okay, so let's look at another one. Let's look at, for example, let's go ahead and look at provide public goods. Okay, so an example of a public good, like could be national defense, a police department, a public park, even some public education. You can't exclude anyone, but a private good. So say like your Pop-Tart here. It's your Pop-Tart. If you eat the Pop-Tart, it means nobody else can eat that Pop-Tart too, okay? Or if you went to a Taylor Swift concert, if you buy that seat, that's exclusively your seat, so we can exclude people from the market, okay? But what would be an example, something you could think of that would provide a same image? Now, I'm kind of giving you an example for a public good, provide a public good.
So I drew a park here.
Okay. And write just a brief expression there to help you kind of reinforce that idea of like if you want to write like a park.
All right, parks are for everybody.
Yeah. All right, good. Okay. So I think we're just about on our 10-minute lesson here. So what we would do normally is we would continue with these different ones. Like if you want to pick out another one, pick out one more. We'll do one more. Which one on there do you want to think about?
I'll do this one.
Okay, so provide effective and workable competition. So this kind of deals with market structures. We get into perfect competition, monopolistic competition, monopoly, oligopolies. So questions of mergers. A lot of times the Justice Department determines whether they will allow a merger. You may have been following sports where the PGA and the Saudi leak.
Yeah.
Some of the government will start to question whether this is a legal merger, especially getting in bed with maybe some of the Saudis and some of their questionable and ethical behaviors. Okay, but that's what we would continue to do. And then our next step we would do is I would take this away from you. You would try to recall that graph based on those images. So it's an association technique to help you. Okay. Well, thank you, Owen. I appreciate your time very much.